welcome, my friend, to Next Level Change Success, a change conversation for leaders, project and change practitioners for today and tomorrow. My name is Therese Perez of myvirtualchangemanager.com, and I'm an experienced change and project professional and people leader with many years of experience in the industry. I love business, and I love the people side of business especially. So nothing lights me up more than seeing people use change management, project management, and strong change leadership to engage, motivate, and inspire people, and ultimately transform organisations. If you've heard about change management and have no idea of what it involves, then you're in the right place. If you know about change management, but you want to take your practices to the next level, then this is where you should be. I'm going to share the stories of my experiences, interview some fantastic people, and I'm going to explore all of the challenges and opportunities that you face in organisations right now. So please join me and let's go and have some fun. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Next Level Change Success. My name's Therese Perez, and I'm the founder of myvirtualchangemanager.com. And before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that I am recording on Tharawal country and pay my respects to the traditional owners and custodians on the land on which I am recording. Well, today's episode, I wanted to talk a little about emotional regulation and empathy when it comes to change. And the reason I was going to publish a different episode today, but I realised after the weekend the tragedy that struck in Sydney with the person who unfortunately killed 6 people at Bondi Shopping Centre, Bondi Junction, Westfield in Australia. There was a need to put a bit of a sombre episode together this week. I think an episode which really does strike to the heart of change, which is very much about empathy and the old saying that be careful, you never know what someone is going through. And at times like this, when there is such a tragedy that happens, which is nothing short of senseless and doesn't really make sense, the impact that it can have on people, it can have people's trauma resurface. And I think I've mentioned this in one of my founding episodes about the pandemic, the time in which everyone went through different processes, through isolation, through the requirements during that time, the us and them that came out about vaccinated, unvaccinated. There was a lot of different experiences that people had through that time. And I've shared around the loss of my sister during that time, but also the birth of my son. And certainly at moments like this, when reflecting on the events of the weekend, it can bring up things for people. And it's certainly from my perspective, that deep sense of grief and empathy really sits with me at this point in time for those who lost loved ones so suddenly, and especially to those who were mothers and the impact on their families. I personally could not imagine having my own child subjected to that, and in such a nonsensical fashion. And also those obviously parents who lost their children, whether they were aging or not. And for those who had loved ones who were overseas. And these are the things I think that sometimes create big interrupts in our world around what's important. And I certainly know that in everything I did post 2020 and through the events that took place in my own life, I've always had a different perspective on life when going through the grief that I did, but also the joy that I did in such a contradictory fashion in the same year. And I hope to bring it into everything I do. I hope that those who come in contact with me know that my concern and my empathy is always there for others. And when it comes to change, the message today is very much about when you're introducing change or leading change, you cannot underestimate for the people who are impacted the emotional response and the emotional impact that it might have on them and what it might bring up for them when they might be in a comfort zone and then thrown into turmoil because of a change to which they haven't had much engagement on, or indeed no consultation on. And that sense of this is happening to me rather than having it be a co-created event as such, which is one of the things that I always talk about, is where you can, if possible, co-design the change, you will always get better outcomes, and the resistance will be a lot lower because of that co-creation taking place. So today, I think I just wanted to say to you, if you're working on a change, introducing a change, leading a change, or in fact you're impacted by a change, is do not be concerned if it elicits strong emotional reaction. And in fact, if it does, it's just something to unpack and to process, and then to be able to, if you're leading the change, create the space for that, what I call decompression, to take place, the expression of emotion, the processing. The better you're able to facilitate that processing for individuals, the more you're going to find, the faster people will be able to move through the change itself. And most of all, have some empathy for those who are going through change. I know that there seems to be at times leaders who almost take delight in the discomfort, use change as a way of punishing their people, and that is simply not acceptable. It is pivotal that as a leader you have empathy for your people and that you're supporting them as much as you can to process the change and to move through it. And that helps you sleep at night, it helps the person sleep at night, and it can get the best outcome for everyone. So just remember, there's always a human at the end of a change and in the center of a change. And it's important to never underestimate how much a person may not deal with a change very well when you thought that they wouldn't have any issue with it. Oftentimes it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with what may be going on in their world. So check in on your people today, regardless of where you are in the world. Rather than have performance discussions with them, have check-in discussions with them to see how they're traveling, how they're navigating their own role, their own job. Have a sense of listening, which can be empowering for people, and just simply connect on a human-to-human level today and see what difference that can make, not only in your world, but with your people, versus just being task-oriented, moving things forward. Sometimes taking a personal pause can really help get a better outcome and a connection that will put you and your people in a good place. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you hug a loved one today. Make sure you make the phone call or send the message to the people that you love the most to let them know that you love them, and simply take care of each other. Come visit us at myvirtualchangemanager.com. We do cover all things change related. We do it with a heart and a head. And remember that change matters because your people matter. Take care.